The Fast Life podcast is brought to you by Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. Simpson is a Texas-bred company who has been making badass safety equipment ever since. Check out all the models, finishes, and visor options at SimpsonMotorcycleHelmets.com and give them a follow at Simpson Motorcycle Helmets on Instagram. Dream Rides is a spot if you're looking for a shop to build, maintain, repair, or upgrade your Harley-Davidson motorcycle. John Jessup is your guy. His shop in Stockton, California is a spot for in-house dyno tuning, parts, and bike sales as well. Check out their extensive online store at TeamDreamRides.com, which is offering 100 days same as cash financing on products. All you need is a job and a bank account. And don't forget to use offer code FASTLIFE for 10% off. Give John and the team a follow at DreamRidesJohn on Instagram. Lexan Moto is my undeniable headset of choice for my cross-country trips to my daily commute. I'm now running the FT4 Pro, which is the first in the industry to have a patented utility light with SOS function, a Type-C USB charging, which is the fastest on the market, and up to 15 hours of battery life, and up to 1.2 miles of intercom range. Head on over to LexanMotorcycle.com, see the many other products, and use Fast Life at checkout for 15% off. You can catch Lexan at Long Beach, Chicago, New York, IMS shows, and always on Instagram at Lexan Moto. That was a hard one. ThunderMax Performance ECM is designed specifically for EFI-equipped Harley-Davidson motorcycles, which is a standalone tuning system that utilizes proprietary auto-tune technology with wideband oxygen sensors to deliver unmatched performance and rideability. I'm also running their oil cooler fan, which if you have a 2017 and up touring model, you can too. It's a small price for a noticeable difference in operating temperatures on the M8 motors. Installs under 20 minutes and pairs right up with the ThunderMax ECM. Check it all out at shoptmax.com and ThunderMax EFI on Instagram. Paint Huffer Metal Flake is my favorite flake and is the industry standard when it comes to flake. Check out painthuffer.com. Don't forget Fast Life 12 at checkout for 10% off, and follow Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram and stay up to date on all the product releases and works of art from many artists from around the globe. Check them out. Big Bear Performance is the go-to for high-quality performance products for your FXR, Dyna, Softail, and Performance baggers. Along with being the industry leader in Öhlins suspension sales, service, and tuning, check out BigBearPerformance.com. You can always send your current suspension in if you're running Öhlins and get it tuned, dialed, valved, however you want to say that, to your liking. And you can give them a call at 909-479-7788 and let Kevin give you the info on what you're going to need to get your bike dialed in. So check them out, BigBearPerformance.com and Big Bear Choppers on Instagram. Welcome back to the podcast, folks. Appreciate you joining us again. We're going to try to push out some podcasts this month so we can give you all our SEMA shit. We got a lot of them done while we were there and really excited about releasing all of these things. So once again, as I say on most of these podcasts, I appreciate you guys' support. And if you don't mind and you're interested, go over to our website, fastlifegarage.com, and check out our Patreon, which is your way to donate and help the cause here. Help us do more podcasts, bring out more for you. If you haven't noticed, the last 2 months we've been able to use this money, one to go to SEMA and the other to go to Phoenix, and we've been able to put out almost 8 podcasts a month, which is the kind of where we want to be at, as far as moving forward in this medium. So all that, like $1. If you donate $1 from each listener, then that gives us enough money to do so much stuff with this podcast, keep the quality up, even fly guests in if we have to. You know what I mean? So the money goes for more things. I'm not going to take it and go to the strip club and throw ones on strippers. You know what I mean? That's not what it's for. It's for this podcast to grow, reach more guests, and reach a bigger audience, and just grow. And hopefully, we've got some sponsors that are coming through to help donate some products to our Patreon supporters, and that's going to happen, I promise you. Even if I got to give away a fully custom painted helmet to get the ball rolling. So stay tuned for that. Help me out. I appreciate you checking out this podcast. This podcast is with Ethan Porter, who goes by Porter Bilt on Instagram. And I first met this. The first time he came into my realm was when I was building my gold FXR, or customizing, however you want to say it. He was also building a 143 FXR that he was taking to Born Free. I think this is Born Free 9. And a lot of my friends were saying, hey, you see that one that fucking Porter Bilt's building, and blah, blah, blah. And I ain't gonna lie, I was a little jealous at first because it was sick as fuck. But I ended up meeting him while in Indianapolis at the Horsepower Inc. deal. And he's a great dude, great fabricator, built some really sick shit. And I'm excited to have him on. So here it is, Ethan Porter from Porter Bilt.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
What's up, man?
Not much. How are you?
Good. You said you rode in from Indianapolis, huh?
Yeah,
drove in.
Drove in, slept a couple hours, and tried not to die.
Were you trying to make it all the way straight through, or what?
Well, I mean, that's always the goal, but I'm not as young as I was 3 years ago.
And you did solo too, huh?
Yeah.
So what'd you get to? You said you got to Amarillo and you just had to stop?
Yeah, I couldn't do it anymore. 12 hours of driving after 3 hours of sleep wasn't great enough.
That's kind of what we did. We left Dallas. Most of us, we left about 2 a.m., me and my brother, and then Garley, we met him at his house at 3. And pretty much all of us got an hour and a half sleep. And this motherfucker drove from Dallas all the way to past the border of Arizona before he was just like falling out on the wheel. So it's a long trip.
The things we do for what we love, right?
Mm-hmm. So what was bringing you out here? Just, you said you're going to LA after this?
Yeah. Well, I built a bunch of display stuff for a company called Vossen out of Miami. They do high-end wheels. And they had asked if I was going, and I said, well, I hadn't planned on it, but if you can get me a pass, yeah, sure, I'll go. So kind of an overnight decision just to drive out here, and I got a bunch of buddies in Cali, so I'm going to go hang out with them.
Yeah, it's a good time. So, man, like last time we were up in Indianapolis, you were hanging out at the HPI thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know you were that close, because I was like, fuck, man, if I'd have known you were there, I would have wanted to podcast with you then as well. But just, run us through like some of your background as far as like into the fabrication and things like that.
Well, I guess it kind of all started. I went and bought a truck without my family's approval. It's a 1970 F100. I brought it home. My grandpa said I bought a lemon. I said, I don't know how it's a lemon. It's 40 years old. It still drives. And I guess that just pushed me into proving him wrong. And I worked at a couple hot rod shops before, one of them being Brown's Metal Mods. They displayed a car here last year. I do a lot of high-end stuff, but kind of stay low-key about it.
Yeah.
And another shop out of Sarasota, Florida now called Godspeed Rides. I think they changed their name, though. I'm not sure. But, tried to learn as much as I could from everybody that was good at what they did in the business. And I went to work for Vance and Hines in Brownsburg, Indiana. Worked there for 4 days and said, I make you guys too much money. This ain't for me.
Yeah.
Went home, made a Facebook post, and said, hey, I'm accepting taking in other people's work. And I never looked back. That was 12 years ago.
Holy shit. So you kind of traveled around like trying to...
Yeah. Always just trying to soak up as much as I can, you know.
So you originally from Indianapolis or what?
Yeah. I actually just bought a house 2 years ago, not 4 miles from where I grew up.
Nice.
So...
Yeah, it'd be cool to do that stuff. So, was it the like more of a mini truck or the truck culture and like air ride kind of stuff that kind of got you going into it? Yeah,
that was. I mean, it wasn't as prevalent back then. It was everybody was still stuck on the Fast and Furious thing back in '04. But I got the truck and did a whole bunch to it and was going to swap a EFI 5-liter into it and had all of it done and just kind of was slacking on the final details. And Classic Trucks magazine came out with a issue about 10 EFI swap trucks, and I literally looked at it and said, well, I'm behind the times. Ripped it all out, figured out something else, and it's still sitting in my garage. I look at it now and I want to build a new chassis for it.
Yeah.
Just because.
Well, I remember my friends told me about you when you were doing the FXR build for Born Free 9, was it?
Yeah.
9, yeah. 143. And you said you had a lot of problems with that, though, didn't you?
Man, yeah. Well, I mean...
How hard was it fitting that motor into that frame? Did you have to modify it at all?
No, we didn't have to modify the frame as much as, Jeff and Danny did with that M8 FXR. But I mean, it pretty much went right in. We used a lot of parts from other companies. Used alloy art front motor mount, upper motor mount. And we ended up having to modify a bunch of things. The big issue was trying to fit that 68 millimeter horsepower ring throttle body in that thing. Fly-by-wire, had to convert the upper motor mount from FXR to Dyna style. Do some crazy things with AN lines. Every hose AN, everything on it, it's AN. The guy that owns it, super anal about that stuff. He's used to. He actually has a car built by Dallas Performance.
Nice.
2,600 horsepower Lamborghini. So, that and everything we do in Indy is, based strictly on racing. So it's got to perform. It's got to be as simplistic as possible and not have issues.
We were up there. That was kind of the thing that blew me away, because it seemed like every Dyna that was in that parking lot was like Bilt 107s or 124s. It's like people definitely up there take it the motorway before anything else. Yeah,
definitely function over form in Indianapolis.
But no, that bike was clean, man. Like I think you were running some of the Deviant stuff on that.
I had a Deviant oil pan, Deviant fairing. Had the Deviant fairing, and we actually had bought the TCB. The guy out of Italy, I don't think he's around anymore. But
that dude was like, I guess he got tired of modeling for all his carbon parts.
I don't know. I heard I heard a rumor he was kicked out of motorcycling.
Oh, that's cool. Love those.
But we bought that, and it showed up and was damaged in shipping, and luckily Deviant was good enough to get it to us in 4 days from Beirut. And threw it on, built the bike, put it together, had everything done except for a couple brake lines that we just couldn't get access to in California, and ended up taking it back home, and a week later tore the whole thing apart, repainted the whole bike, powder coated everything again. And we built the thing in 45 days. Wasn't a whole lot of frame modification. It was a bunch of adding things like tabs and these little things I use from bicycles that made to hold like brake cables. You can put a clip or a zip tie around them just to hold wiring, cleaning stuff up.
I remember you telling me about that, just those small details. That way when you have like brake lines going around and shit.
That actually, the Born Free this year, I took it out there again just to display in my buddy One Wheel Drew his Diamond Lane booth, and got rear-ended on the 405 by a Tesla. Apparently they don't self-drive. Hit the back of a Ford Explorer and jammed up in the back of my trailer. So it's torn apart right now, waiting on insurance claim.
God damn, that sucks. Well, at least the Tesla's got insurance.
Yeah.
I don't ever get hit by people with insurance at all. But that bike was badass. That Diamond Lane, like that shit was pretty bad. Yeah, that's the coatings and shit, right, on like the fork tubes.
So me in conjunction with them, we have a coating, a lot like top line tubes. It's the same, if not similar, but nobody's concentrating on colors. We do rainbow, black, gold, green, blue, and purple. Nice. So I try to incorporate those on things. It's not as easy to do as matching gold and black to everything, because they tend to go with everything. But for someone that wants to show off, and even the purple bike I built for Born Free this past year, Sportster, it we put a set of tubes on it. I sent some pictures to Bondo out of California, and he knocked it out, nailed it down just off of pictures. Exact match. So if you're looking to do something like that, that's the way to go.
Yeah, and the price point on that's pretty good compared to the top line.
Some colors are a little bit different than others, and the market's always changing. The only unfortunate thing is most of the stuff that the company we use does is for military applications. So they're not they're not the best with trying to come down on pricing, because the government pays whatever you ask. So, but they're in the range of $700-ish bucks. But we offer a pretty good warranty with them. We do a lot of work with Race Tech and testing them out, and I think the the longest running set we have on a Hell's Angels bike, and he rides the thing all the time. And it's got somewhere around 18,000 miles on it.
Damn.
Not a single scratch, damage, anything like that. But
yeah, that's good, man. So the once I'm trying to think of some stuff that I had remembered, because I didn't know you were going to come out here. I had notes for everybody else. But what kind of got you into the bikes versus the car thing? And I see you still dabble with car stuff still.
Yeah, I mean, people ask me all the time, I see you have a lift. Do you want to do my brake pads? Absolutely not. I mess with cars just to get out of the norm and, to constantly test myself. I just advertise it as, if it's cool and I like it, I'm into doing it. But motorcycles actually kind of just fell into my lap. I had a shop back in 2010 south of Indianapolis, and a friend was like, hey, I got this motorcycle. It's a 78 CX500. I said, I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah.
And it was, after finding out about it, it's kind of crazy. It's the first production V-twin, first production turbo bike, first fuel-injected bike, all these things, first drive shaft bike. So I got the thing in like a box and buckets, and stator was out of it. Motor was split cases. I put it all back together. It ran, had weak compression, bad cam chain tensioner. So I put another motor in it and rode it around. Like, I did all kinds of dumb shit to it. The fanciest spray paint, taped off paint job you could ever do. And I literally scrapped an 06 V-Star in parts just to fund that bike because I thought it was cooler.
Yeah.
And I just looked around my shop one day and I was like, bikes take up less space than cars.
Yeah.
It's less overhead, and I can charge the same hourly rate. Why am I not doing bikes?
Yep.
And I just,
what was so the draw to go to bikes, was it more the fabrication side of trying to build stuff, or just it's quicker to put them back together and you can have that satisfaction?
No, not necessarily. Cars just take up a lot of space, and there's so many different components. You gotta, if you can't do everything yourself, and I have this problem with finding people, and I've been lucky enough to find some solid people, painters such as yourself, or even local guys that are only interested in doing one color. I've got a great interior guy, seat guy, but everyone says, oh, you do everything. Well, everything but paint, powder coat, chrome, and polish.
Yeah.
And everyone says, why don't you just do all those things? Because I let the people that know what they're doing do a good job, do the best that they can.
Yeah,
if I try and have the market by the balls, then there's no friendly competition in anything.
Yeah, and also you can get burnt out too, like being so spread thin, trying to build and be a part of every aspect. Sometimes, having a guy that does like coatings and stuff like that is helpful. So
yeah, that, and I don't know how to do anything half-assed.
Yeah.
So if I don't have a legit paint booth and the best gun I could have, I'm not even going to try and do it.
Yeah.
There's no point in half-assing something. If it's not right, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, I try to put myself in people's shoes sometimes and find out what the draw is to want to be into the paint and learn it, because it's really something that takes a lot of time to pick up, just like welding and understanding all the different metals and fucking thicknesses and all that shit. So
and a lot of people don't realize, everybody thinks that you can just take this piece of metal, weld it to this metal, or no one sees the amount of tape work. No one knows how much money in tape and masking paper goes into a paint job. And it's a lot like machining something. You have to see the final design in your head and work backwards in a sense to know how you're going to tape something off, to overlap or to underlay, or to you can't spray pearl under flake.
Yeah, exactly.
So same thing with machining, even basic stuff. Every time I've tried to hire someone, I say, hey, make this spike. Take this piece of solid stainless and make a spike out of it. Well, first thing they do is cut it to the full length, and then they're left wondering why they can't chuck it in the lathe, because there's nothing to hold it with after they've cut this taper into it.
Yeah.
So you got to think backwards in a sense of a lot of things, and I feel like that's the hard thing for people to come, to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, I had a run where I was really trying to get into welding because I made an exhaust system with my buddy and just working on stainless steel, and I just fucking loved it.
Yeah.
So I went and bought a couple, 3/4 tubing, whatever the fuck, stainless steel, and I just cut it up with a little bandsaw. Started just doing pies all over the place, just practicing welding. And then I had last year was a bad year for me, man. So when I wrecked my car, it's like I needed to sell that welder to get money to fix it and shit like that. So I ended up having to sell it. But I was talking with the guys walking around SEMA. I want to get a newer, like more of the inverted style. Is it inverter?
Yeah.
The ones they're just smaller, but I don't really want to do the Miller $3,000-$4,000 one. I'd like to find something because I don't weld that much. You know what I mean? But then I'm the kind of guy that's like you said a while ago. Like if I do things, I want to have the best shit that I could possibly have.
And I mean, I think I'm up to 8 welders now.
Yeah.
I've got this giant old Miller sinker wave, and it works great. And everybody says you need to get rid of that thing. I occasionally weld upside down on aluminum filthy ass flatbed wreckers, and it works great for that. But I just spent $7,000, which was a huge hit.
Yeah.
$7,000 on a new Lincoln that was used at PRI in Indianapolis last year as a demo, and never did I think that welding equipment could make such a difference. But I've been using a 40-year-old welder ever since I started. So I just laid down a simple bead with this thing, and I just looked at it and said, I've been fucking up for a while.
Yeah, that's I need to look into it more. I'm going through this thing right now. When we get back from this, the shop's getting gutted, rebuilt, reset up because we're adding a studio and all this other shit into the shop. And I'm like, man, it'd be cool to, because we're going to set everything up from the lifts that I have to the workbench for the paint work to the studio so that everything can be live streamed, videoed.
Oh, killer.
So if we're building a bike or customizing a bike, depending on who you're talking to, then we can do like series of it, like putting this on, tearing it down, I'm really trying to make like a YouTube channel that just has a lot of shit, but I'm trying to make it as effortless on my end as possible so that I'm not spending weeks fucking editing videos and shit.
Yeah. Set up a couple cameras and just switch between the ones.
Yeah, and so that's like that switching software is fucking expensive, and it's still like entry level shit. Because like if you've ever seen like live production shit, it's like it's screens everywhere and switchers and all this shit going on. It's so fucking expensive, dude. Like a simple church or a simple high school football thing, it's like they'll have $20,000 in this equipment and shit. But the technology is coming along in that too, so they're starting to be able to do pretty powerful things with programs. So I'm hoping that with a couple cameras we could get nice angles and shots and do live stream like while I'm doing a helmet or something. You know what I mean? Just to try to bring something different, because like I said, I'm big. I don't think that the TV thing is a viable place anymore for us.
Died out.
To kind of really capture. And I think that creating our own content on like those kind of channels is the only way that really gets who we want to be across.
Or even Instagram live TV.
Yeah, TV.
That's a big thing, especially now that they switched it over to where you click the video and if you run out of time, it goes in, it transfers you. Whereas before, when they first came out with that, it was just a pain in the ass. You'd try and click your messages and you'd hit that and a video would pop up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. So, and I mean, we've been kind of scaling back on our paint work and stuff and focusing on like just helmets and smaller bikes and stuff. And I don't know. I'm pretty excited about it, but I'm scared in the same sense. Yeah. It's scared because my income is changing. Not so much that the podcast is my new income, but I'm trying to get to where if we sell stuff like helmets or apparel, that it could, be a third of my income, and then paint could still be a third, and then maybe podcast sponsorships could be the other third. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you get about 4 hours of sleep a day.
Yeah. Well, the thing about selling, man, is like once you set it up on your store, man, the shit sells. People,
print the label and you're done with it.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people nowadays is they just, they follow so many different brands and all these brands online or on Instagram or whatever. They might have a website with a store, and it's like, well, fuck, I'd like to support this brand. I'll buy what I was planning on buying from Revzilla from this company. You know what I mean? So I think it's viable for everybody to kind of have something on their website to sell.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been trying to focus on for the past couple of years is coming out with products, and I've got a bunch of ideas, and in the middle of working, trying to get this Hardinge machine center CNC. That way I can knock out a bunch of parts, and I've got buddies with companies, and they're always needing stuff, and the places that they use are backed up, too far behind on getting things done. So maybe I can help them out, and we can all make some money.
Yeah.
But
so you thinking about making parts like hard parts that people can just install on the bikes, or things that you would have to fabricate?
Hard parts, handlebars.
Nice.
I don't want to say any specific items to might piss someone off. Everybody's copying each other nowadays.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, Canadians.
How'd you like watching all that shit? Wasn't it crazy? Did you see everything take place on?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw Brad down here yesterday, and we were talking about it again.
Yeah, it's me and a few key people in the industry talk about it all the time and chuckle about it, and I'm not going to name any names.
Yeah, yeah.
definitely some shady stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, probably digging myself a hole here, but the strange thing about it is I still hear people say, well, man, he makes a really cool product. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, yes, I guess. I mean, they are cool, but I don't know if I could get past how
expensive.
Well, that and just how just knowing the brand, you know what I mean? Yeah. It just that, that shit doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't vibe well, especially when the whole goal of Homeboys was the Canadian was to make the industry better and cooler, and everybody's cool with each other, and then back door is just fucking.
I'm all for free enterprise. If you want to make a product and you're going to copy someone and doing it, you got to at least fucking knock it out of the park. Yeah, it's got to be either strides better or cheaper. Yeah, one or the other, or both. If you've got the technology and the process to get it done faster, more efficiently, and keep it at a better price point, and even if you just add your little flair to it, something that's different, you can't just blatantly knock people's stuff off. Especially in the motorcycle industries. It's not huge, but it's not small. It's enough that we all know who each other are. Yeah, we all see each other places. I didn't come to SEMA and expect to see you. Yeah. So, just treat people like your neighbor, I guess.
Man,
that's the way I can say it.
So, what are you hoping to see here? Anything that you've been following and wanting to check out? There's some badass trucks out there, man.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm a little bit intimidated, overwhelmed. Yeah, it's definitely a different experience for me so far. I haven't ever been.
Oh, you never been to SEMA?
No.
Have you walked to it at all?
No, that's the first place I came when I woke up. So, I mean, I'm used to big shows like PRI. That's Performance Racing Industry. They come to Indianapolis every year. It's pretty large. I'd almost say I'm a pro at walking through and seeing what I need to see, and figuring out what I want to go back and talk about. Not having to spend a week walking around. But I mean, I'm excited to gain some inspiration, see some new products, and maybe see how I can incorporate those products, or some of the process of those products. For example, a coating, or something of that nature.
Yeah, I haven't even been outside yet. We've been here since Saturday night, and I haven't been to the outside stuff because there's that brown C10 that has the camper on it. That
I've seen that all over the internet.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that shit. Fuck. Fucking Justin from FXR division. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, we were doing that dude. All the podcasts I've done so far, I've been doing edibles, and I need to stop doing that shit because I'm not doing my job. You know what I mean? While I'm on it, all the podcasts end up smoothing out and taking a natural form, but like I said yesterday, we fucked up and went all had dinner. It was all of us, Big Joe, Torch, TBJ, and then Adam Garley. He's a fabricate stuff back home and shit. And it's like we all sat there and talked about everything we could have talked about on the podcast. And then we come up here,
aliens and shit.
Yeah, it's just nothing to say. And so I fucked that one up pretty good. Should have made us do that first and then go eat. But yeah, man, it's being out here. It's pretty crazy, even for me as a painter, man. Just being down there with every badass painter in America, all in the same booth doing shit. It's intimidating as fuck, man.
People walk up to you that you look up to, and they're like, "Oh, hey, how are you?"
Yeah, exactly.
Still fucks me up.
Yeah, man, it's like and they're all, because what I like about a lot of the painters is they're real helpful. Like that, when I have questions, they help me out.
Yeah.
But they also are telling me, "Oh man, you do great work too," and I'm just like, I don't see it compared to what they do. You know what I mean? But like Poland's down. Like Poland's coming on after this. Yeah.
Oh, killer. I talked to him the other day.
And him and another good friend, Franny from Paint Zoo. Mm-hmm. This dude does hockey mask helmets and shit, or goalie masks. Mainly, he paints bikes too, but he gets real pissed when you call him just a helmet painter. He gets riled up. So how's everybody doing up there? Jimmy and all those guys, are they doing good?
Oh, they're doing good. They're knocking everything out of the park, and they just hired 2 more guys recently. They're expanding their shop into, since you've been there, they moved across the street.
Yeah.
Probably 8-10 times the size of their operation before. In my opinion, I think they're making the best exhaust, definitely best throttle bodies on the market, and just trying to live the American dream and make shit and get paid for it.
So what are you gonna do when you go to Cali?
I'm gonna go see Oliver, the Cut Rate, Track or Die. I got a frame jig. I'm passing on to them. I'm gonna go hang out with One Wheel Drew and probably jam down San Diego Customs, check them out. They're actually gonna head out to Indy to HPI to get a bike tuned on Monday, so I'm gonna try and catch them before they leave.
Damn, they're gonna drive all the way out there?
When you're the best in the industry, that's
Fuck it. Yeah, pay the premium, huh?
Yeah,
I'm actually supposed to be going through San Diego in December, after Christmas. And I've been wanting to reach out to them and get those guys on. We get a lot of people wanting to hear from them. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure they
put in a word for me.
Yeah, I'll tell them. They were doing their own podcast thing there.
Dude, it was good too. I liked it. Just everybody that does these things or starts them, we're all going to start in the same area. You know what I mean? Some of us might be better talkers, which I'm not a good talker, but some people might be more fluid with their opinions and shit. But I think that people do it the first couple of times, and they just don't feel like it's professional enough, and they just man, that's a lot of work and shit. Because you gotta, I didn't start making anything financially off this for about a year, and even now it's still just, I can get a plane ticket to Phoenix, you know what I mean? Things like that. So, but I wish they would have kept doing it, but it's a lot of work, man. And you ask them, they'll tell you setting it up, and they were doing the video thing where they have a guy walking around with 3 or 4 cameras, and then he has to go back and put all that footage together.
Yeah.
And so that's why all this shit that I'm buying,
as well as meshing all the audio together.
Yeah. So the shit that I'm buying, you just put those cameras up, and then as someone's talking, you just hit a button and it switches to that one.
Yeah.
And then it switches to that one, and then it records it like that in the whole thing. So the video splicing is done, and the audio's on it, and then all you got to do is either just
final edit.
Yeah, final edit with the sound, and maybe throw a couple of animations on there like your logos and shit like that, and you're done. And that's what I would do. But it's about $10,000 total once you set it all up for a cheap setup.
Yeah, that's it. It's a big hit when you do stuff like that. But I guess I call myself a tool collector. If I see it and I want it, I buy it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got 7 or 8 welders now. Do I use them all the time? No. I've got an ESOB that's a MIG-TIG stick. If I have to do a job somewhere,
are those pretty decent? Because I think that's what I was looking into.
Man, I was skeptical, and I bought it with the sole purpose. When I built my shop, I had no power out there. And I ran like a 8-3 wire with a plug on either end of it, and plugged it into the house like 100 foot away into a dryer plug.
Yeah.
And flex core MIG welded this 1/2 inch thick, 14-inch tall, 8-inch wide I-beam into the middle of my shop, and built stair rails and all kinds of things, and never had an issue with it.
Wow. And those things are pretty affordable too, aren't they?
Yeah. I got mine used. Well, new, but the guy couldn't afford to keep it, I guess. But they're it's like a Rebel 215 IC. It's like $1,900, and I think it's a great entry level welder. Hell, and the benefit it has over like an Everlast is I got a lot of buddies that run an Everlast, and they're 220 or 120 TIGs. It's comparable to like a Harbor Freight one.
Yeah.
But things have progressed so much over time now that. Hell, Harbor Freight offers a lifetime warranty on hand tools.
Yeah.
Did you ever expect that?
Yeah.
You go to Lowe's and buy Cobalt or Craftsman now that they're Chinese and bought out and whatever. Everything's lifetime warranty. But yeah, it's a good welder. I would definitely suggest it if you wanted versatility.
Yeah.
I can't stick weld to save my fucking life.
Yeah, well, I like to just want to TIG. Yeah, I can't stick well. I've never done it. I could barely MIG. The sparks scare me. No, I had a horrible accident with I say a horrible accident. My dad used to, rebuild, cars or collision and shit, and he never wore a helmet when he would weld, and he'd like spot weld everything back together. He'd just look away, and I was like, fuck it, I want to build a skate ramp. So I went and bought all this metal or like a pipe, and I bought all this shit from like Home Depot, brought it, cut it all up, set it all up, and just fucking MIG welded it.
Staring at it.
Couldn't see for 3 fucking days, dude.
Oh man, it's bad. They say cucumbers or potatoes over your eyes. That's dumb. That doesn't work. Just pass out and go to sleep until it goes away.
Yeah, so when I bought that TIG welder, man, like I was so like scared of it. Not so much the sparks,
closing your eyes behind the mask.
Yeah, like well, when I did that, they didn't even have. I don't think they had the auto tint shit. So it's like you just look through a mask and like just hitting something around so you find out where the fucking metal is.
Oh, there's a crack. There's a crack.
And so, but this was I got like a nice Miller like auto tint.
Yeah.
Thing. So I mean, it was easy. It's just I don't know, man. Like I got pretty proficient at keep nice clean beads, but I just didn't have the money to do a purge setup.
Yeah.
To do the pipes. Otherwise, once I would have got the purge setup, I would have went full force trying to make my own pipe.
Yeah.
The first one we did at my buddy's shop, I like cut out all the metal and tacked it all together, and then he ran the beads on it with the purge and stuff. And I ran that exhaust for a while, and it sold with that first bagger I did. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I want to get back into it, but fuck, man.
So you got this new bagger you built over the winter.
Man, honestly, it's not really much of a build. It was just like just paint job, with some parts that we threw on it. But man, I pretty much. It's all tore up right now. Like the paint's fucked up from all the riding. I mean,
that's what they're for.
Yeah. So I was gonna actually tear it down in December and redo the whole thing. And I got another FXR, and the FXR is gonna be super. Just
I was gonna ask you if you miss your FXR.
Oh, I totally do. But this new one is gonna be. I've already had an opportunity to get an RT fairing and like all this shit again. But I just want a quarter fairing. FXR, you know what I mean?
Simple.
Yeah, simple,
like
just clean.
Late 90s style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of I want it to be, it's a 94 and it's low mileage, so, but I got a frame and a motor right now, and I'm just like, well, I'm getting the swing arm powder coated, so maybe I should just pull the motor out and get the frame powder coated. And then next thing you know, you got another $20,000 FXR.
Yeah.
And so,
it needs a base cylinder gasket. I might as well do a big bore.
And that's exactly what's going on. I need to get a base gasket in one of them. One of the heads, the back head, it looks like they laid it down on the right a long time ago, and something just caught a couple fins on the rear cylinder head. Mm-hmm. So I need to find another one of those, and then I want to just black out this. It's a black motor, but just old fucking shitty black. So I kind of want to split the cases and do all that.
Well, actually, I think I got a set of heads. If I
do,
yeah.
Let me know when you get home. So.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's I want that to be my travel bike next year, but I'm kind of struggling because I'm kind of spoiled now, I guess. And I shouldn't say this online, but like I like
hit a button and it just starts. And
but working with companies now, like that's changed things and made it where I'm not 30 grand deep in a bike, and I can test and put products to the test, in my opinion. So, I mean, my Road Glide has 26,000 miles on it, and that was within 1 year of just back and forth all over the place. So some products that are on that bike, I know for a fact that I've put more miles on it than anybody else has. Like the mid controls from Epic Moto, I know that I've put more miles than anybody else has on those things, and they fucking work. So like those kind of things, I like to be able to say like, hey man, like I've rode these things for 15,000 miles or 20,000 and haven't had any problems.
Yeah.
TBR exhaust doesn't make any fucking power, but it ain't broke.
Yeah.
I guess that can go for something.
Man, Orlando Harley Davidson flew me down there a couple weeks ago to, I don't know if you saw it, took a brand new 2020 lowrider, hadn't even been PDI'd into the dealer yet, and put was a BMC fairing and lowers on it. As I guess no one makes anything for an M8 bike, or to my knowledge at least. And then I guess the 2020 lowrider has inverted forks with the wide stance like the Fat Bob had, so to do all kinds of clearancing and change some bracketry. But
you can run too. The TOL fairing is set up wide for and then the Russ Wondermont.
Well, I don't think it was out at the time they bought this fairing, because I think that just came out like a month ago.
Oh, okay.
But they've had this thing for a while and couldn't figure it out. And I went down there and I forgot what that. Man, did I eat an edible? I forgot what that.
So you went down there to work on the bike?
Yeah. They flew me down there to go work on this bike and get it situated. And I still don't know where the hell I was going with that. Whatever.
You're sleep deprived.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was I don't know, man. I think the new lowrider is actually pretty nice. And at first I was kind of pissed because everybody was trying to sell it. Like they said, okay, it's an 18.5 bike, and then plus dealer markup, so it's like 21 to 25 for some dealerships. So like, get the fuck out of here. It's 18 grand, bitch. Like that's what I'm willing to give you for this bike. Yeah. And the only thing I would say it's cool about it is the front end's nice. Blacked out saves you some money. Yeah. Everybody's always asking me, like, how's that 114 feel? And it's like, it feels two more horsepower than the
107, right?
Yeah.
Man, the 107 feels like it has more oomph off the bottom end. Yeah. I think the 114 is just top end.
Yeah.
I mean, even I was down there for Bike Week, and they had one that, they put cams and all kinds of other, an exhaust and all kinds of other things on, and I rode a stock 107 Heritage and was like, this is more enjoyable. Yeah. But I'd be interested to see, what people are going to do with that 2020. I think it would look better with not so wide forks. I'm not into that whole game.
Yeah, true.
I don't know if they're just trying to make it easier for these guys to build these fat front tire baggers to transition into that or what, but...
Well, I've said this quite a few times, but like the Sport Glide and the Fat Bob, they have such wide front ends that you can run the bagger wheels on them. So you can put the rear bagger 18-inch wheel and the turbine one, and changes the stance of that bike like nothing. Because the Fat Bob and the Sport Glide have like 16-inch rear wheels, and it just looks gay as fuck.
Yeah, it looks goofy.
Yeah, and then so the new lowrider actually looks pretty good, but I don't know, man. Like that 18-inch rear wheel, like that is something that gets me like going on bikes. So when I see that, and like 19, 21, it doesn't matter in the front, but that 18-inch rear wheel with the 19 or 21
that's the biggest thing, is being able to see through the back. That always kind of bothered me about choppers, is everyone was just putting a 16 on the rear. And I get it was period and you can get a 130 tire on it, but now with hell, even how things have progressed over the last 5 years, and everybody building 17-inch wheels from was it the not Fat Bob, but Street Bob, taking the factory wheels and switching them out. Andy over at HPI, he put a set of like Sun rims on his and switched them from the 17 to an 18 and got a bigger, like a 180 tire in the rear. Damn. And it just cleans it up so much.
It's like when Horsepower Inc. did that one bike that we came up there and saw when y'all were getting it ready for Born Free. The first one, the Fat Bog.
Yeah.
I mean, that tank and like rear fender combo, I think looks sick as far as that bike is concerned.
Yeah. I'd love to incorporate that rear fender into.
I like it so much that the FXR I got right now came with the ducktail rear fender.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of digging on it, man. I let's try to do something different.
Isn't that crazy how that works? Everybody sees these parts, wide glide fenders and shit, and they're like, oh, that's junk. Throw that in the trash. And then watch next year, it's going to be a hit, and everybody's going to be like, oh, I need a wide glide fender. Where'd they all go? I'm
thinking about just painting it and running it possibly, just because it would be different. And the FXR I'm doing for myself, I'm not trying to build a all out, like my Gold One or my Bagger, like I just want a nice cruiser. I'm gonna leave the belt drive on it. I'm probably gonna try to get some rims for it because I like that 18-19 combo. And man, I want it to look different. You know what I mean? Like, I've always hated the lowrider tanks because I like the center field dash. Kind of vibing the lowrider tank now, man. So going against my own ideas of what I like and shit.
That's the great thing about motorcycles. There's just a lot less rules than cars.
Dude, the main thing that's been going through my veins lately is I got soft tail fever bad right now, like OG soft tail fever. And
like 95, 96.
Yeah, dude, like just that stance, like real narrow rear wheel.
Like Heritage.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Heritage, take the bags off.
Yeah, something with the probably Deluxe has the floorboards, right?
Yeah.
Execution style built that he's got one down in the PPG booth, and see, the one we brought was like that dirty tail, so the big front wheel and shit, and it's dope too, but like I don't want to spend that kind of money on it. The one that he did kind of has just like a thin spoke 21, nice long fenders, but it's all still kind of simplistic. And dude, the stance is.
And that's what I'm into, is taking stock parts from different models of bikes and putting them together in a way, even cars, putting them together in a way where it makes someone second guess what they thought they knew.
Yeah.
Like, wow, they never put that in that. That didn't come with that.
There was this thing going around, and I think it was correlation with like the truck world, right? Where you wanted to find like that barn find and just leave it like that and just fucking body drop it and put it on the ground. Well, for a while in the big wheel bagger world, dudes started just picking up stock bikes, like full dressers, and just lay framing them.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the sickest thing in the world.
Yeah, I always wanted like I don't want to say a farm truck, but like, let's say like an 87 K10 with like a Redding like utility bed on it, ladder rack, and just like leaving it crusty, beat up from like oil fields and stuff, and just hammering it on the ground.
That would be badass.
Yeah, like just because it'd fuck people up. They'd look at it and be like, "What? That doesn't."
It's not supposed to.
The off-road guys, lifted truck guys would be like, "That's wrong." Lowrider guys would be like,
"Dude, the lifted truck thing's gotten super out of hand, hasn't it? That's like the new big wheel bagger, isn't it?"
That Carolina squash shit pisses me off.
They got 30-inch wheels now for those things.
Ignorant.
With tires, like they have tires for it now. I saw someone in Dallas was mounting a 30-inch like dually wheel or something. This shit's insane, man.
Don't get me wrong. Big wheel baggers look aesthetically pleasing. Trucks with giant wheels look not as aesthetically pleasing, in my opinion. But I get it. It's trying to push everything in a different direction and explore every possibility. But anything over a 23 on the front of a motorcycle is not fucking feasible.
Yeah.
Where you gonna buy a tire?
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. You can go cruise around the mall with it, or go to the local.
Yeah.
We call them Shell's Angels. But you're not gonna use the bike for the purpose intended.
Yeah, exactly.
Stick with something that looks good. You can fit a 20. You can fit a 23. I think 20. A 21 looks so good in the front of a bagger.
Yeah.
Just like a 3.5 40 spoke 21. It kills it.
Yeah, I think that
you're not banging your fender into your nacelle. And
the hardest part for me is that I grew up liking things that are low, the lowered look of things. And so when the truck thing turned into this whole lifted and poked out wheels thing, I could look at it and go, oh, that's kind of cool, but I just can't see myself driving it. Like I still see myself in a 97 two-door Tahoe slammed on the ground. Like that's my jam right there, something like that. not the 97 two-door Tahoe lifted in the air because it's the four-wheel drive model. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I started from Volkswagens, and I always prided myself on just being.
Yeah.
I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like I had a 91 Jetta, had a set of BBS RSs on it. I drove it to Ocean City, Maryland for this big show called H2O. Not shitting you, maybe 3/4 inch off the ground to the frame rail or the subframe. You know, the little plastic fender lip, every time I'd turn, it would rub it slightly, and it self-clearanced itself. And,
Yeah.
you know, I had a 740 IL BMW that would get, not high-centered, but, you know, like on asphalt roads, you get that little slight peak in the center. If you crossed over a lane, you'd hear it go just throwing sparks out the back.
You heard that dude coming in the parking lot super sideways, trying to get on the
Oh yeah. So I get the low thing for sure, and you know I think I'm going to revamp my truck, my F100 into something else, and
that's kind of the thing right now. Like right now, I have a 2003 Tahoe, and it's beat the fuck up, but I love that body style, and so in my head, I try to keep looking at the old.
03 is like the rounded.
Yeah, the round. So you can. I think that getting like the HD hood to put on there just beefs up that front end and
bumper filler thing.
And man, I don't know, man. Like those things are so fluid. They're everywhere. They're cheap. I mean, I bought that thing for $3,500 cash. I drove it to NorCal 5 fucking times. It had 150,000 miles on it. It still runs to this day. My wife kind of clipped something and tore the front bumper off, so I need to spend money on it.
Oh, Escalade front end.
Yeah, there you go. But I don't know, man. I like those trucks, and I wouldn't mind like having that truck, new paint job, you know, just kind of like a static drop on there with like some 20-inch Kragers or some shit. Like I love that look on those Tahoes. Kind of a little bit more muscly than like big wheels and Dubby.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, like a 50 series tire, so you can drive on, hit a pothole, and not worry about it. Suck the tear into your asshole.
Yeah, man. I just. But I'm also a car guy. Like I like cars. I've always like before the motorcycle thing, I was doing, you know, Skyline Motors and 240s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was my jet. We used to literally leave Texas with a U-Haul and a truck, rented truck, and go to Cali, like City of Industry. There was this place that used to import motors and front clips, and we load it all up and take it back to Dallas. MR2 front clip or rear clips. The Sentra, you know, they had the SR20 turbo in the Sentra, so we'd bring the front wheel drive SR20s back and just sell them out, and just you could pull the motor out, and those things would still have like coilovers in the fucking front end and shit, and so you get all these fucking JDM parts from those front clips and stuff.
Man, I never really got big into the Japanese market stuff. I somehow lucked into I bought an 89 Wagavan. And I got it for like $160 and drove it.
Yeah.
And the training went out. It was an automatic, and you know I sat for a couple years, and I went through the motor. I just kept the D series in it, cleaned it up, rebuilt everything on it, and went wild with suspension and built my own exhaust, and it was fun, but just didn't click with me.
Yeah. Well, what got me out of it is you know, we were heavy into it, and this is when drifting was getting big, and I had already started going back and forth to Cali, so I already knew all the people in the Super Street Super Street magazines, and this was before like probably right around Hot Import Nights was starting to become some big thing. But the street racing thing is what I loved, and you know, I just racking up tickets on tickets. I had like $15,000, and then they made it to where like if you get caught street racing, like your car is automatically towed, and you go to jail, like just like super criminal charges type things for it. And I was like, fuck, I got to stop this.
They're not so big criminal in Indianapolis, but I mean, there's definitely a big street racing scene there. A lot of my buddies set up. They'll find a warehouse and go out there, and they do the whole flashlight 3 clicks thing. And I mean, there's some fast cars in Indy that you know, I mean, just because it's not on what's that show?
Outlaw.
Yeah, Street Outlaws, Memphis, all that stuff. Man, actual street cars.
Yeah.
Come to Indy and get your ass stomped. I got a buddy. He's got a 2JZ and a Fox body.
Oh shit!
I posted a video like a couple months ago. DMX, the rapper, was randomly in town, and like we saw him at a Steak and Shake. And he was super cool. And I got a video of him taking a ride in this 2JZ Bilt Turbo 400.
Wow.
The thing I think it runs like low 10s.
Did he bark?
Huh?
Did he bark?
No, it hit second gear, and he goes, "Oh shit!"
Damn,
it's fucking crazy.
He used to be. I used to like him a lot when I was growing up, and I've read that he was really into like exotics and fast cars and shit too.
He's big into cars. We talked for a while.
Yeah, man, I don't know, man. That street racing like thing was. It cost me a lot of money in my life, but fuck, man, if I wasn't like some of the funnest times getting like letting the culture of cars and motorcycles like really just dig into your fucking veins and get in your system.
I used to go to work all week. First thing I'd do is fill my gas tank up, wash my car, clean it, and then I'd probably go through 2 tanks of gas in a weekend, just driving all over the place doing car stuff.
Yeah, and the thing I miss the most is just those random like Tuesday night like parking lot hangs.
Yeah,
like they'll be in the front of a Walmart or something in a corner, and everybody just checking shit out.
People show up wherever.
Dude, I still see it every once in a while, but it's not like I'm planning. I'm like driving somewhere. Oh shit, there's a car meet over here.
Yeah,
that shit's cool. They started doing that coffees and cars thing real big.
Man, that's too early in the morning for me.
Yeah, it's too. We're not doing illegal shit.
Yeah. It's too many old white guys there.
And then in Dallas, we used to do a lot of we had like a good handful of spots that when one got busted, we could go to other ones. But then like highway racing got real big.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I got my ass handed to me. I was on a 600, and at that time, 600 Gixxer, you just pretty much can beat anything on the street.
Yeah.
And this fucking horse sucked my ass up one day on the highway. I sold that bike the next week and got a 1000. You know what I mean?
What's crazy is 1000s. I mean, they're faster, but it's not a huge difference.
Yeah.
And at least the 600s handle better.
Yeah.
1000 is great if you're going in a straight line, but
yeah. I miss the sport bike stuff sometimes, but dude, I rode one not so long ago just around the block, and I was like, man, there's no way. I'm so used to this, arms up position, sitting straight up, leaning over, and I got a big ass belly now and shit, just laying on a gas tank. It's not attractive.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel cool.
Yeah. Do you know that his name's Sam Goichi Motors or something like that? I don't know how to say it.
I don't know.
He built a couple bikes back in the day. One of them was like like an older version of a Ducati 1098. Mm-hmm. It was white and had like purple wheels and a single-sided swing arm, and like the brake rotor was like in like a jack shaft mounted off of the wheel, like in the center pivot of the swing arm.
Sounds familiar. Where was he at?
They were out of like Kansas or some awkward place like that. They're in like Florida now. They've actually got a car here.
Oh, for real?
They did like this FD RX-7 big turbo LS car. They've got like this like a Challenger or something down there with like 900 horsepower motor, and they switched over to cars. It's kind of weird that he started off in bikes and was doing the sport bike super street type stuff, and you were, and then you kind of switched over, and everybody's progressing and changing stuff up. And
I think it's also about what they find that resonates with them the most. You know what I mean? Like people. I think that your experiences in these things with the people that you meet kind of help you stick to it. You know what I mean? Like if you come into Harley's and you meet a lot of badass dudes and just makes you feel like this is your club, then I think that you're going to always be like that. Yeah. Or if you're here and then you find a better connection with people. I mean, a prime example, like riding big wheels, I had no real connection with most people that rode big wheels because we rode them. Mm-hmm. And then when I jumped over to Dyna's and the FXR community, I felt more welcome and more like these are my people. You know what I mean? So now I've been kind of not stuck, but willingly stuck in this place where I'm around people that I feel like respect me and I respect them.
I get that. I mean, I don't know what year it was. The first Harley I built was a 68 Shovelhead. I ended up painting it purple. Apparently that's my thing.
I dig purple too.
And I only did that because every Harley I'd seen up to that point, was some dude throttle jockeying at a stoplight. And I'm like, it's fucking fuel injector. What are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
You're not cool. And I just had this hatred for these Harley guys. And I was like, yeah, fucking 70s Hondas all the way. That was my shit. That's what I wanted. That's all I cared about. And I rode a buddy's bike after I rewired it. It was 57 panhead, hardtail, jockey shift, foot, rocker clutch. And I fixed it. He's like, I can't pick it up till later in the week. Just ride it around if you want. And I was like, gay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I rode it, and I was just like, I have to have this. I don't even know how to understand it. I have to have one. The next week, I bought that 68 Shovelhead, tore it apart, did everything to it, built it, and I mean, I still love 70s Hondas. And I had a Busa, but it just doesn't resonate with me.
Well, it's also becomes like, well, shit, if I always have this conversation with my wife because she fucks with me about the way I spend my money. And I asked her, I always put her on the spot, I was like, here's $1,000 right now. What would you do with it? Oh, she never has like something like, bam, I need this.
Yeah.
I have $40,000 or
your mental wish.
I have 40 things that are $1,000 that I need right now.
Yeah.
That as soon as that $1,000 hits my pocket, I'm knocking off this list.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, I think that's how some of us are, and that's how the Harley thing is. Like, if you jump on one of these bikes, and I think that what really got me back on the baggers was when I went on the hot bike tour in 17 and riding next to like the RPM guys out of I think they're out of San Diego.
Not familiar.
I don't know. They built two really nice baggers. They had S&S motors in it. This was like right when the M8s were getting dropped.
Yeah.
And just badass, just riding next to them the whole time. I was like, fuck, man, like this. I was like, I'm used to riding baggers, but I stopped because, I felt like the only way they looked good was with big wheels on it. And seeing these bikes ripping down the road like this, it just, dude, a month later, I bought a bagger and enjoyed it, but we were actually talking about this the other day. Is like, I bought that bagger, but still had my FXR. And so I never fully really got to enjoy or wanted to enjoy it because I was still on the FXR. Yeah. And like now, like my bagger's great because I didn't have another bike to kind of play with it or kind of put it aside. And I'm wondering how it's going to feel once I finish the FXR, like if I'm going to have the same enthusiasm to ride it. Because it's different, man. Like I like riding any of them, and they're all fun, but there's just something about like certain ones that I just feel cooler on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had an 82 FXR. And I don't know what the deal with it was, but I replaced every engine bushing on that thing, and it just something didn't feel right. Felt just awkward. Yeah. And I don't know if it was just because I was used to, let's be real, older Hondas are far superior in handling. But I was used to riding those, and it just didn't click with me. And I got rid of it, and I wish I would have kept it now because it had a Bilt S&S 96 motor and had all the cool parts that weren't cool at the time, but they are now.
Yeah.
But I just got an 86, so we'll see.
What's your plans on that?
Well, I was gonna build like an actual RP out of it, but I stumbled across this 04 DXP. And I don't need two police bikes.
Yeah.
I already put I put the siren and the lights and everything on the DP. So, I don't know. I think I'm just going to do whatever feels good.
Yeah. There's so many styles of bikes that I want right now. And that's kind of what I was saying. I was having that Softail fever thing.
Yeah.
But like, I want that Softail I was describing to you, but I still want to see if I can make T-bars work on it or something like that. I want to try to give it that old sled look, but with some things that I like, maybe try to put mid controls on it and some T-bars, and just try to see if that style would work on this, if it has a glimmer of hope, and then just be that one that sparks that style or whatever. Those bikes are cheap. They're not going to handle for shit, but
Yeah, I'm all for that. I love pushing the envelope. I think that's a great idea. I talked about that earlier this year after going Born Free. Performance Machine had this, I don't know what it was, but it had like a early Tour Glide fairing on it, and it was just the outer, and it was very race car.
Yeah.
Or had like just little tubes holding like the mounting points.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, man, that'd be really cool to put on an Evo Softail lower the soft tail, put like an 18 by 4.5 rear back wheel on it.
Yeah.
Something just to fill up the fender a little bit. Leave the stock fender. Don't stretch it. Don't bob it. Don't cut it. Anything like that. And like shove a set of Ohlins or something, or even stock boost and stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
Shove a inverted front end, more racy looking front end up, up in there, a little bit narrower. And just like slim down, make it like a race version softail.
Yeah.
With like.
Well, that's that. The older Softails, that is a weird thing because if you ever look at them from like the rear wheel forward, it's like the fenders are super narrow in the back, and then the tank just gets fat as fuck.
Yeah. So slim down, I
feel like a sporty tank on top of that would look better, like a little Frisco sporty tank.
I think a set of like repop earlier tanks, because like I'm sure you've looked like a flathead or a knucklehead. You notice how the tanks are really narrow in the back?
Yeah.
They're still 3.5 gallon tanks. But when they went to that square backbone, and they went to a single tank, they call them, I guess they're still 3.5 gallons, but they're wider.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they look like everything that's not, a 30s or 40s gas tank looks like 5 to 10 gallons to me.
How complicated do you think it is to take one of those Softails and turn it into a hardtail?
The right way? Because I've seen people weld rebar between the shit and be done with it.
That's pretty cool too.
I think there's people that do it all the time. A lot of guys are using Softail swing arm dropouts for cutting them off the swing arm and using them on chopper frames.
Yeah.
So, the lines are there. I would say you could probably just cut that half moon piece out where the pivot is and link the two together.
Yeah, yeah. Something like
sounds a lot simpler than it is, but I don't think it would be a terrible time at all. The only weird thing about that is that square backbone makes it hard to mount tanks. Because
that's what I was thinking is like having that done. It depends on how cheap you get the bike, but hardtailing the thing and then going a little up and in on the rake on the front,
like Midwest or Iowa style.
Yeah, doing something like that I think would be cool. And it'd be awesome to do it on the Evo one, but fuck, man, you can get those like 02, 03, 04 Softails for fucking $3-4 grand. I've seen them go for. So I don't know, man. Like I said, there's all these ideas, and I kind of want to. I want to get back into the welding.
We just don't have enough garage space.
Yeah, that's it. I want to get back into the welding and see if I can. Just play. I got some pretty good friends out there in Texas and Dallas area that Chris Moose is there.
Yeah.
And then FXR Mike's been doing some pretty cool shit for a while. He actually did a D-rake. He took his 79 FXE, I think, and chopped the whole frame. He kept it a swing arm chopper, but he did the up and in thing, and it fucking looks sick as hell. You know what I mean? He rode that thing. I think he just did it to that Tennessee motorcycle revival and back.
Yeah.
Oh, the crazy shit was he did that. And talk about like, there's some people like he's a wizard with this shit. This dude rides this bike there, blows his transmission, rebuilds it there, and rides it home.
I could probably do that. I don't think I'd just be done at that point.
I'm done. Like, let's just throw it in the car. Yeah. I was like, damn, that's some pretty gangster shit in my opinion. To be able to do that.
Man, there's a buddy of mine, Lead Fist Cycles, out of New York. The first time I met them was you ever hear about that Oily Souls show up in Detroit?
No,
the guy that like ran it is now his name's Brad. He's the like head designer for Harley. But there was a show up there and they were invited and I went up there and they show up in this like, it was the first series of like the JK Jeeps, like the standard small one. And they had this bike and all their clothes and everything, and them, husband and wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, stuffed in this little standard sized Jeep, rear wheel, front forks, everything off of this bike. And that's what they used like to haul their bikes across the country to Born Free when they won there for like 3 years.
Damn.
And I was just like, it's gotta be tiring.
Yeah.
Every time I see him anywhere, I'm like, do you need help unloading that? I'll help you, because I know how much that sucks.
That's cool. You got to go. So he ended up going from that into a designer at Born. He worked for Ford, I guess, before. It was a designer there, and I don't know what his technical job is, but
I've heard that he like took Willie G's position, but so I think he had some part of a key role in like the Panamera, I guess, that just came out here yesterday, and some of the new Softail stuff. And
how do you think about that shit? I think it looks pretty badass now seeing it on the road.
I haven't seen it in person. I mean, we'll see how it performs.
What's
not my style?
The other day when I first got here, I was at TOL shop, and Big B's and Kerry Hart's bikes were there, and I did a little walk around video talking about all the shit I didn't like about it, but I didn't post it because I felt bad because it's two people's bikes, as opposed to just being
a company.
Just the company's bikes on the road, so I didn't post it. And we were just going through the bike. They started up the new one, and I think the motor looks cool, like how the motor looks, but I'm not a big fan of the bike for a plethora of reasons that I saw up close on the bike. But I know now that because of the water cooling, they're able to get higher horsepower numbers out of those motors as opposed to Harley's air-cooled, safely or whatever the fuck you want to say. But this new motor that they're coming out with, if they can find a way to get that into some of the bikes but not feel so, like metric feel, then I think that Harley will actually own the market again on the newer platforms.
The hard thing about Harley is everybody, the customer base is very stuck in their ways of traditionalism. I don't know what the consensus on who hates Livewire or who loves it or whatever. It's definitely, I don't think it's a money-making endeavor. It's a way to get into the market, maybe to be some of the first into it, and to, try and be in the forefront of that when it becomes a real thing, but I mean, I haven't ridden one. I'm not going to judge it until I ride it.
Yeah, that's the truth. Same thing with the Challenger. Like, I haven't ridden it yet, and I'm sure it feels great, but there's a feel that isn't horsepower and isn't suspension. It's just how the bike feels when you're on it and riding it, and that's what I call the soul of it. And so the way it sounds, I don't know. I mean, the weird thing about it all is, like, these bikes are nice, and I do think that Harley still, has their shit together enough to. I mean, I bought a brand new 19. I've got 3 buddies that just bought brand new Softails while the FRT was available. It's like, so if everything's so perfect over there, then why are people still buying Harleys left and right and not the Indians?
Everybody, has an opinion on that. One of my good friends is very stuck on Indian, simply because it's, quotes, made in America. Or it's all American or something like that. And
it definitely isn't.
No way in hell it is.
Dude, the master
electronics aren't made here.
The master cylinders on the bike look cheaper than shit.
Dude, that's how Indians. Have you ever seen like a 30s Indian?
No.
40s Indian? Everything looks like it was made out of angle iron with a cutoff wheel. Like, dude, nothing's flowing about it. You could look at an early Harley and an early Indian next to each other, and the Indian looks like it was made by some farmer, and the Harley looks like it was made by a corporation, or at least a designer. And Polaris owns Indian, and Polaris has had numerous accounts of going bankrupt and doing dumb shit, and I just don't see it lasting. And no matter how much you make your parts in America, supposedly, or whatever, or you've got higher horsepower or whatever, if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right.
And the things that make those bikes, that make the Harleys feel right, is kind of against the grain of what progression would be, if that makes sense, And I don't know, like, I guess what was really starting to trigger me, and I don't know how much I've talked about this yet on the podcast for the this week, but what really bothers me is, and I guess I'm just being trolled, right, is what it is on Instagram, is everybody, like, making posts and memes about it, like, it's the new performance bagger, you're kind of an idiot if you still buy a Road Glide instead of an Indian, and it's like, well, it's not, I mean, I just don't dig it, you know what I mean? So, and I made a post just with my thumbs down by Big B's bike, and just the comments is like, you would have thought that I'd like back Donald Trump for president or some shit again. It was just like nothing but shit talk the whole time.
What's wrong with Trump?
No, I'm just saying, like,
exactly.
the thing, I did the helmet post with when I painted Trump on a helmet, shit show on the internet.
Everybody wants to be butthurt about something.
Everybody wants to be butthurt about something. Yeah, but that's kind of the thing. And people are wanting me to explain, like, well, how do you explain what soul is on a motorcycle? Like, I think my Honda has a soul.
Obviously never ridden one with soul then.
Yeah, that's it, man. And I mean, I'm sure that when my first time riding a bike on a Kawasaki ZX-7 6R or some shit, like, I felt like, fuck, man, this is it. I don't know if that's the real soul that I felt on riding that bike, as opposed to once I started riding my bike across country and sitting in a gas station in the middle of nowhere, eating a fucking pack of donuts when looking at my bike under, in the middle of nowhere. That's a connection that's different than when I was jumping around on sport bikes. You know what I'm saying? So,
that's the thing that always bothered me about sport bike guys is they'd be like, oh, my new build or whatever. I'm like, your wheels and your paint job?
Yeah.
Like, no offense to that. If that's what you're into, that's what you're into. But you didn't build that bike.
Yeah.
You cosmeticized it.
Cosmeticized.
I don't know if that word's ever been used before.
Yeah, I think it's applicable. Applicable, yeah.
It's just... Well, don't get me wrong. I want everything. I want everything. I want a Gixxer 1000. Specifically an 04 because they were the fastest.
That's my favorite year.
I want a 12 Busa. I want all kinds of things. If I swear to you, I don't know how many millions of square feet this convention center is, but if I had my way, I'd fill it up with my own personal stuff.
Yeah.
One of literally everything, because I love it all.
I mean, we were walking around yesterday and we were looking at some of the tuner cars, like the not necessarily like the Honda Civic tuner cars, but like, I'm trying to think of one. There's something that's all winged out and big lips, fucking big wheel lips, like a wide body cars and shit. Yeah. And I just don't know if I have it in me to drive those type of things.
Oh, I'd totally destroy it.
I would feel douchey riding on it. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. Maybe it's just personal attitude, but I feel like I can blend in anywhere.
That's cool.
Right now, I could go three-wheel around a corner in an 86 Regal.
There you go.
Not give a shit. I can go drive, I'm not fortunate enough to have this, but I've got some friends that have some, higher-end stuff, and I wouldn't feel any different going and driving a $500,000 Lambo or something.
Yeah. I guess I'm just used to having piece of shit cars, man. I've had a couple Grand Nationals. You know what? Back in the day,
the greatest feeling in the world is driving some piece of shit truck you can fix with a screwdriver.
Yeah.
It's like if I was into like meditating or something, that'd be like, that's what I would go back to like center myself.
Yeah.
Like just driving old, like Jimmy HPI, he's got a 84 K10 that I just did a bunch of work to and I'm wrapping up, and I got in the thing first time I started it up and just like drove to the gas station with no grill, no headlights. Just like, yeah, this is fucking cool.
Yeah. Well, that's, Scott Hampton.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's big in the C10s.
Yeah. So, he had that last one built. He came through Dallas. We had dinner and shit.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was cool. Like him and his wife driving across country in that old truck. Like that shit. I want to do that with my wife. You know what I mean? And
we're not hustling, right?
Huh?
One day we're not hustling.
Yeah. Like right now, it's like every time I'm going across country, it's like, it's funny.
Gotta get there right now.
I told you I was going to go through San Diego in December, and I was telling my wife, I was like, hey, why don't we just take a road trip to, LA and spend New Year's in LA with your family and stuff like that. And the first thing she goes, are you working on this trip? And I'm like, yeah. I need to go through San Diego and talk to some people on the podcast. And when we get to LA, there's a couple more people that I want to talk to. But then, 2 solid days. Yeah. You go to dinner with your family. I won't bother. I'll go do my thing. And I was thinking it's kind of funny because I'm probably the worst husband in the world, because my other friends and their wives, they're like, hey, well, I was like, hey, y'all want to go ride? Oh, we're going to Home Depot today, or you know, like we have her friends having a bachelorette, or not like a baby shower. We got to go to that, and I'm just like, I don't do any of that shit. My wife doesn't ask me to go to that
dirty
shit.
Pants and going to work.
Yeah, it's like it sucks because when I do tell her I can't go, I'm going to work, and then all my boys hit me up like, hey, we're going to ride here, and the next thing you know, I'm on Instagram stories, fucking drunk out of my mind. And I'm supposed to be working.
You know, I've had a few more than enough relationships fail because of what I do, but
you ever think it's like weird how like it's interesting to them, like women, like they're like, oh man, that you do cool shit, and then once they're around it long enough, they just see how much it involves our whole life is that.
Yeah, like
not so much like it's just our 9 to 5, you know.
Yeah, laying in bed looking at scrolling eBay trying to find parts.
Yeah.
It's, you know, I would liken it to, I guess, a disease, but I don't know. I just living my life for me.
Yeah, for sure.
If someone can handle it, great. Seems like your wife handles it pretty well.
Yeah, she I think so. I mean, she hasn't left me yet. Dude, she was pissed because when we left early in the morning. I was scrambling trying to get all this shit packed in the truck, and she was leaving to go to Oklahoma City the next day to go see some of her other family. So, and I forgot my wedding ring. So when we got here, I was like, fuck, I don't even want to tell her. Like, I'm just going to wait till she gets home and sees it on the desk or on a dresser. And she was pissed, man. Because, you know, obviously but I like send her pictures of me. I'm like, look at this. Like when I get out of the shower, not a dick pic or anything, but just like.
It's your wife, do what you want.
Yeah. It's like, well, you see this? Like, ain't nobody getting in it. Nobody wants this shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, no hot girl's going to come up to me up here and go, hey, you know what? You're the guy for me. You know? Like, all the girls here that aren't with a dude, they're fucking working.
I just said that to the girl I'm talking to last night. I'm like, nobody wants a fucking bald 33-year-old dude that works on motorcycles and travels across the country to work more.
Yeah.
Like, it's like we don't get vacation time.
We're just popular on social media, not in real life.
Yeah, no one outside of motorcycles knows who we are.
So what else you got going, man? You do anything cool? You gotta bring some shit to Born Free again next year or what?
Yeah. I started building this frame. It's all stainless a couple years ago. Stuffed a sporty motor in it. Yeah. I think I'm going to wrap that one up next along with this FXR at the same time. I got another Dyna I'm building. The Dyna that I had at HPI last year has done nothing but stricken me with fucking mechanical issues. It's on its second motor rebuild right now.
Damn.
Yeah, all because Bobby Woods thinks it's the twin tech ignition that was in it. And Cut Rate, he had a similar issue up when he rode his Dyna out to Maryland after Born Free. He was up in like Washington and had his ignition go out and it like stuck in limp mode. So I was riding it one day and I got home and I was like, this bitch is hot. So I shot it with a heat gun. And the heads were like 320 degrees, and the carb bowl was 250. I don't know what gas boil's at, but I think it's a lot less than that. So we tore it apart, scored cylinder walls, and Jimmy's just going to rebuild the whole thing, be done with it.
You think it was caused by the ignition?
It almost has to be because I've probably put 55 gallons of oil in that thing just chasing little noises that I've heard. I couldn't ever get rid of spark knock. You know, I went so far as to put a 45 Mikuni on it. It's only a 106. Shouldn't need, you know, that's borderline needing a 45, but it's not that hot. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll work right this time. And
how's the stainless steel frames? They pretty strong?
I don't have a damn clue.
There's a nice bagger down there that was built that was it's a stainless frame.
At the point I did it, I don't know anyone that had done it yet, and I was real skeptical about doing it. And I just took a lot of time welding it together and making sure all the gaps were fitted perfectly, hand filed everything. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be a lane splitter. I tend to do everything to the max. Someone says they have a lane splitter, but it's got stock controls on it. It's just as wide as a stock bike then. So, you know, I'm going to probably do some crazy stuff with the foot controls and make it as fast as I can and dangerous as I can, and hopefully not crash it.
And you think you'll have those two bikes for Born Free? You think you'll bring them both or what?
I should be able to, yeah. hopefully when I get back home in a couple weeks, my new garage door will be there. That way I can finish up the shop addition I just built. Moving everything into the back addition to keep all machining and everything dirty in a contained area.
Yeah,
have more room for. Right now I've got 4 lifts. I'm looking to put like 3 or 4 more in.
Nice.
So always trying to progress.
So do people they come up there for you like just basic fabrication stuff, or?
Man, I would love to just change oil every day. I'd be far better off monetarily.
We all would be. Yeah.
I love doing custom stuff. Unfortunately, not everybody realizes what it takes and don't have the patience for it. Dealing with one particular customer with that right now.
Yeah.
It's a fine line that he's walking.
Yeah. We actually were talking, I had, a fucking fabricator's wet dreamlet in here last night, and that's one of the biggest and most common things that's across the board with everybody, is that the amount of time that goes into a part, and then how much people are willing to just scrap it if it starts going the wrong direction. Yeah. And then that time is gone, and you really can't get your money back out of that.
Yeah. Generally, I don't know if this compares to anybody else. I haven't checked, but generally, even with all the other stuff I have going on, a bike build is about a year, which I don't think is extravagant at all.
No.
To re-engineer almost everything about it, or at least modify everything about it, and to do it in a timely manner, Kawasaki, Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha, Harley, all of them, they have whole wings of buildings with hundreds of people that are all coming together to make this one product.
Yeah.
And it takes them years, and God knows how much money.
Yeah.
And someone has the audacity to think that they can realistically just put a timeline on it, like, I want to go to Born Free next year in 9 months.
Yeah.
That's cool. We can try.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't happen, don't be pissed off about it. Because, one, your safety is not worth any of it.
Yeah.
The first thing I do to anybody, I don't care if it's $150,000 143 FXR. Yes, I said that number correctly. The first thing I did with that, I went and jumped the railroad tracks by my house on it. I don't know why I do it. Every bike I build, if I change your tire out, I'm jumping the railroad tracks. Because if it falls off, it's going to fall off on me. I'm not being responsible for that.
Yeah.
I sleep fine at night now, but I don't know if I could if someone got injured on something I did.
Yeah, when I used to do a lot of work on bikes, I used to require, like when I would customize a bike, I would put the first 100 miles on it, the shakedown. Because a lot of people that are buying shit, they don't, if they're having someone build it, then they might either have a lot of money and they are mechanically inclined, but they just don't have time, or they're not mechanically inclined, so they need someone to do all this customization.
Or they're not mechanically inclined, and don't have a lot of money.
So I just always felt comfortable with myself as well to do, because usually 100 miles is where things are going to come.
I generally ride it to the gas station, check everything out, make sure it starts back up. It's not too far away from me. If there's an issue, I'll ride it a couple towns over. If I need to go run an errand, I'll run to the post office or whatever. I'll run on little trips like that, get it hot, shut it off, etc. And just kind of play it by ear. But now it's not usually ever anything that ever goes wrong, like bolts falling out. It's always just it got a little hot sitting in traffic and it didn't want to idle right. Let's change the jetting or something like that. So everybody thinks they have this preconceived notion that it fired up, it's done, I can come get it. No, there's realistically another 40 hours in it.
True.
Just playing with things, changing things, doing the first oil change.
Making sure that like we were talking about earlier, like all those little routed wires and lines
and aren't contacting anything.
And they didn't slip or move in, you know what I mean? Everything's just there. I agree, man. Like that's those things are important, and I think you get that with a small independent shop. I mean, Harley's not going to pay a tech to go fucking ride around for an hour or two on their bike to make sure it's broke in.
Have you ever worked on something and engineer design?
So, but I don't know, man. I think that shit's pretty cool, I guess. How was how was that last bike that you were around much for the last Road King build at HPI's?
Yeah, I mean, I'm there probably 2 or 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Either there or, Earl's Lines. It's just down the road. So I'm passing there all the time and, going in, buying throttle bodies and air cleaners. And so, yeah, I was around for a lot of it. It really came together pretty good. Poland did a great job painting that thing.
He's been killing it on the bikes the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I think he's really found a way to get his style from helmets into a bike and fit nicely.
You can look at a bike that you've painted and tell that it's your style, and you can look at his helmets and other things, and you can just tell from the lines. It's like tattoo work,
Yeah.
People see me and they're like, oh, yeah, John Haas did that, or that guy did that.
Yeah.
And it's, in my opinion, it sucks when someone's trying to copy that.
Yeah.
Because at that point you don't know who did it unless you really pay attention to it. And it's like every time you paint a bagger, I'm sure you've got certain lines that you follow to make the bike kind of seamless and flow together. And if you paint a Softail or a Dyna, same thing goes along with that. How many people have painted the bike without setting the dash on it and
made sure
tracing the dash and the lines aren't concentric to it. It looks like that will ruin a paint job for me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not too many people see paint. I bet you I could point out a car that's had a panel repainted on it from here. And I know you can do the same thing. You go to a body shop,
Yeah. Well, the good thing about it, I was actually talking with some painters about this the other day, Monday, and the custom paint world right now, the style of helmets and stuff, the style of work that Poland does is in line with the race car industry.
Yeah.
Right? That's the style that all the race car helmet people do. And I just think that out of all of them, Poland, maybe Indosil or Indossil, those two guys are probably the people that I look at the most as far as I love their work the most in that style.
Yeah.
And since everything's kind of gone into this performance realm in the Harley world, that style of paint job is kind of fitting into our bike stuff now, because we did the Affliction shit all through the 2000s, and then the panel stuff has been pretty strong for the last 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
And for me at least, I was late to the panel thing, and then because it's really simple, it's a very simplistic design concept. It doesn't take much effort to do it.
People don't even realize how that originated.
Yeah. And but what I found is it is easy, but it's a challenge to make it complicated.
Yeah.
So that's where I find fun in it. But like I said, then being influenced by Poland style in the race car helmet, it's I'm starting to I've kind of found something that's kind of pointy and panelly.
How yours has changed a little bit, especially in your bagger.
Yeah. And the bagger was more just trying something different, completely different, and I dig it, but there's parts about it that I fucking can't stand. You know what I mean? But it's always ends up being a time thing.
Yeah.
I'm not getting paid to do it. Nobody's giving me the paint, you know what I mean, that type of shit. So it's this is just every day I spend on this is money I'm not making. And then you think you're not making money, and then you're finishing it for a trip that you're doing that you're going to be on that you're not making money on. So it's a 3-week endeavor of not making a dime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that part sucks.
Yeah.
But no, I think the industry's kind of getting some the paint industry is kind of getting some influx of ideas and different styles that are coming in that are making a lot of us have to reevaluate our styles and skills and shit.
I feel like paint itself has been changing a lot lately too. I mean, when House of Color became kind of big and they were changing, new formulas to get different types of paints and all the shimmering bases and all that stuff. I feel like that's kind of gone away, and it's starting to come back around now where more stuff's progressing.
Well, they tried the Shimmer and 2-line thing, which was going to be a mixing bank setup so that we can make all our own custom colors.
Yeah.
And the possibilities are endless, but it's marketed to a crowd that can't afford it. Like, custom painters rarely have full paint booths. We rarely can afford to put a mixing bank. That's a $5,000 thing to throw in your shop that is a reoccurring cost.
Yeah, every time you drain that out, it's costing you money.
Yeah, so it's just certain things just don't, custom paint takes time, like fabrication. Collision paint is like your oil change. You know what I mean? So there's, I think that I structure my prices to where I am getting paid while I'm sitting there drawing this shit, but sometimes it doesn't feel like it when you're there for hours and hours.
My buddy Jay Hart told me this one time. He worked for a bunch of these guys that did hot rods and stuff, and his boss said something. He's like, why didn't you write down this time that you had in this? He's like, well, we can't charge a customer for me staring at their bike. He's like, the fuck you can't? That's visual engineering.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I thought about it, and every time I walk past a bike in my shop and I look at it and I think, that would look better this way, or we could change this. Even if I just, walk over to my toolbox and look in a catalog and think, that would work better on this, or I look up a part on eBay. Obviously I can't be like 12 minutes and 43 seconds I spent, but you definitely got to accommodate for some of that time. I don't charge people $75 an hour to drive across town and pick up a part, but I charge them something for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you got to make use of your time, because if you're not charging for it, for what you're doing, that was time taken away from something that you could have been charging for.
Yeah.
So, you got to be somewhat diligent in that sense, but...
one thing, that I found myself in is, like, I can charge X amount an hour to do certain types of work, but then there's other types of work that I can do that people, hey, man, can you paint my bike a solid color? Well, for the same time, relatively, I can do a custom one and get paid this much more.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So you have to kind of cut out things that are not like paying the kind of money that you could get for that time.
Yeah, totally get it.
I could do one helmet or paint your Dyna Black.
Yeah.
The Dyna Black is easy and fast, and we can knock it out pretty quick, but,
it's more work. It's more material.
Yep. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff like that. But also, I try to,
especially if you got to take it apart.
Yeah, I try to associate it when I've been around a lot of shops that's like been old school restoration cars. So, watching these people spend weeks hunting eBay, hunting parts down on fucking. It used to be harder. They'd have like all these catalogs and people you had to call and message boards and shit. You had to get on and scout like a fucking molding and shit.
Got to call and they got to look on a shelf and.
Yeah, so it's like those guys would charge for that time spent to scout those parts.
Yeah.
Like, I got 67 hours in design, and then, execution was 15 hours or something.
Yeah. That doesn't work that way.
Yeah. But yeah, that's right what you said about, I might not charge them $150 an hour to do, if I'm charging them that for artwork, I'm not going to charge them that to go, pick up the helmet and drive around or a bike, or take a fucking radiator to get, or we used to take the tanks to the radiator shop to get them resealed on the inside, because it's like perfect, and then you just got to grind down the rust on the outside of the tank. It's a good way to get it stripped.
You ever use Caswell?
I haven't heard of it.
Man, you got to look into it. It's like... You've done fiberglass work.
Oh, yeah.
It's like fiberglass resin. You can get it in different colors, so you can like see inside the tank where it's coated and stuff. I probably buy 6 kits a month. I use it on everything, and it sold me because there was a guy whose wife, for whatever reason, was pissed off at him and took a hatchet to the side of his like VL Harley, oil in one of the tanks. And all the oil leaked out, literally a gash in the side of this thing. And the guy I know that ended up fixing it put duct tape over the hole, cleaned the tank out, lined it, pulled the duct tape off. You can see it and like push on it and touch the oil. And it's been like that for like 12 years and hasn't leaked a drop.
Wow.
And the best way to do it is, if you're going to paint the thing anyway, get it acid. I don't know if you have acid dipping in Texas. I'm sure there's not. It's
wish
not
it-
California like crazy EPA stuff.
The acid stuff will take chrome and everything off, right?
I think the acid that takes chrome off is specific to chrome.
Okay.
But I don't know what they use near us, but I'll just acid dip a whole tank. They put it in like this alkaline solution afterwards, so it doesn't flash rust. So I've got a set of tanks that were dipped probably 2 months ago. There's not a single flash rust spot on them.
I need to look into that. That's
And
cool.
then you take this Caswell, it's 2-part, it's like fiberglass resin. Mix it up, it will get hot eventually. It works better if you like individually have them warm, like if you set them in the sun or something like that, and then mix them together, it'll thin it out. Roll it around in there, drain the rest out. It ain't leaking.
Nice. Yeah, I need it.
And if it comes through little pinholes and stuff, once it's hardened, you just sand it off.
Nice.
And they're like $40 for a kit.
Yeah, making shitty welders famous or making them good.
Yeah.
All the pinholes. Well, so what else, man? Do you got anything else coming up, or is that pretty much working on that shit? And
Always just working. Just sold my old house finally. Paying 2 mortgages sucks.
That's good.
So I'm off of that. Got some money freed up. Trying to buy this CNC machine, make some parts, run up a crazy electric bill, I'm sure.
have you know like working with the programs pretty well to write the
No,
programs?
not a damn clue. I don't have any interest in that.
Yeah.
I just have a building I can put it in, and luckily I've got a buddy that he runs a machine shop, and he's big into cars. He was doing like 2Js and everything for a long time, so he was making like his own EDIS Ford coiled trigger wheels for like to convert from 2J distributor NA motors to coil on plug, and so he knows all kinds of stuff, and he's big into motorsports and stuff. We just recently built like some Predator 212 go-karts to race on my buddy's dirt track.
What do those have in it?
What do you mean?
Like in what kind of motors they put in those?
It's like a Harbor Freight $120 lawnmower full start engine. I built one. They're like 6.5 horse factory. I got online and bought all this crazy stuff, and I built one. It's like 16 horsepower now. It's retarded. If you know anything, you have sprint cars in Texas, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So you've seen sprint car races or midget races. So this thing will like ride all the way around the top of the track. It's not fast that way, like competitively, but it's hella fun. And it's like $1,000 in a cart, and you just go out and beat the hell out of it and wear yourself out.
That's nice.
Get competitive, and it doesn't cost. You blow the motor up, you buy the warranty for $20. You go get a new motor and put it in.
I was doing that with the airbrush compressors there because you can get them for like $50 and just get the warranty, and they'd last about 2 months, and then bam, another one. Did like 8 times.
Is there a way that you can, hook like some crazy regulator up to run airbrush off of your like 80 gallon?
Yeah, you can. For me in my shop, like I always run all my lines out of copper, and my airbrush area is on the complete opposite end of the shop, like caddy corner. So just running all the copper lines over there was kind of
Dissipates it enough.
Yeah, well, no, I mean you still put a regulator on it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it just cost-wise, I didn't want to run all that copper, and I have a really nice, iWATA compressor, so I just been using that for years. I would keep it at the house, and I would run lines at the shop, but the shop I'm in now was like I fell into it. Like I had a huge shop, and I wanted out of all the space because I didn't want to build bikes or customize bikes anymore. I just wanted to do paint on dynas and helmets and small shit. So I was like, I can do the artwork out of my garage and rent space from another dude that has like a little corner of his shop. I can just prep over there and use the paint booth. And on that trip to California, whenever you brought that FXR out there, I was on my gold FXR. The day I got back, he moved out. So the landlord came to me and was like, well, do you want to rent it? And I was like, I didn't want to. I just left the shop, but I didn't have a choice. Basically, it's like if I didn't rent it, I wouldn't have a place to paint. So I've been there 3 years now. And I didn't want to stay there, so I've never put any effort or money or into making it super comfortable because I've always wanted to leave, but I finally just got to the point where I'm making this place sick.
Man, it feels all the time I rearrange everything in my shop. It's like
a restart.
Man, I wish I'd have played Tetris when I was younger.
Yeah.
I'd probably killed it.
Yeah.
But it feels good to reorganize and look at everything and say, oh, this would work better here. I can put this thing here. Mm-hmm. So all the time, probably every 6 months, I'll go through and deep clean everything and just reorganize. And I found out that it stresses people out when they walk into my shop.
And it's different?
No, they're like, how's it so clean in here?
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, it's filthy to me. Like, there's dust all over the floor. Like, it's organized. Like, it has to be. It's got to be productive.
That's how Patrick from Royal Tea, his shop down there, dude, it's so sick. It's so clean. Like, you could literally spill spaghetti on the ground and eat it off. It's that fucking clean in there.
Do you know my buddy Daniel Heyman, Heyman Fab?
Oh yeah, he
worked
moved
down
up
there
to
for Jesse.
Indianapolis.
And, he's from there. He's actually like right in between me and HBI.
Yeah.
But he keeps his shop the same way, and it definitely works out, and it looks really well. In the eyes of the customer. I walked into this shop one time, and it looked like fucking swap meet.
Yeah.
Exploded, and I was just disheartened and unimpressed. It's like, I would never bring my stuff here because I feel like my parts would get lost.
Yeah.
So I try to be as clean and organized as possible.
Feels good too. I mean, most of us spend more time in the shop than we do at home for sure. And
I literally, I'm lucky enough that I built this shop at my house. I was tired of paying, crazy rent every year to gain nothing from it.
Yeah.
So at least I'm in a position now that I can just walk outside. I had that before, but I didn't like that, people would show up on like Easter Sunday, and I'm having an Easter egg hunt with my kid, and they're like, oh, can you weld this together? And I'm like, no. Yeah. Now don't ever talk to me again. Go away.
Yeah.
Some people don't understand boundaries, but
dude, especially for social media, I get phone calls middle of the night, 2 a.m. text messages and shit, and messages all the time, which it's understandable because of the time changes everywhere.
Yeah, messages don't bother me. Man, I really don't like talking on the phone.
I don't hate it. I fucking hate it, dude. Because I don't even answer my phone because 90% of the phone calls that come through are like robocalls and shit.
Oh yeah.
So
I just for staying at Marriott.
Yeah. They're always asking me about my Google listing and my college debt, and I'm like, I've never went to college.
Your car's extended warranty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just fucking like, how does that shit work? I don't get the financial gain. Like, is there that many gullible people to go, oh, let me hear more about this debt that I didn't know I had?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I guess if I would say, it's all automated, so the $10,000 it cost them for that automation.
Yeah.
To get one person, it paid for itself.
For sure.
And there's a lot of dumb people out there.
Well, cool, man. You want to wrap it up? You want to go walk down there and see some cars and shit?
Yeah, hell yeah.
So tell everybody your shit.
Well, I'm Ethan Stiles. I'm Porter Bilt on Instagram, PorterBilt_. I build custom motorcycles, custom parts, weird welding projects, handrails, whatever you think is cool, and if I want to be a part of it, I'm about it.
There we go. All right, cool. Thanks, buddy.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I really hope you guys enjoyed that. He is a awesome dude, and thank you, Ethan, for coming through and giving me some of your time and giving our listeners some of your life. So appreciate that, homie. Thank you guys for checking out this podcast, and don't forget, check out Simpson Motorcycle Helmets on Instagram, SimpsonMotorcycleHelmets.com, Dream Rides John on Instagram, and TeamDreamRides.com, and Fast Life for 10% off at checkout. Big Bear Choppers on Instagram and BigBearPerformance.com, Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram and PaintHuffer.com, Fast Life 12 for 10% off. Check out Thundermax EFI on Instagram and ShopTMax.com, Lexan Moto on Instagram and LexanMotorcycle.com, and Fast Life at checkout for 15% off. Thank you guys for checking this out again, and really gonna back this one up really quick with another one tomorrow, Thursday, with the Performance Bagger podcast. Man, do you guys follow FXR Mike? Man, that dude, he's my buddy, but man, he's like touching a nerve, man. He's like getting at my soul with these FXR, or not the FXR, but the Performance Bagger stuff. All his memes are just hurting my feelings, man. FXR Mike, stop, dude. We're trying to be cool like you guys. So anyway, we're coming at Curtis Hoffman insta having Kyle. I don't know how to say your last name, Kyle. Daniel from Proper Baggers, and I kind of messed up. I don't know. It goes by Roach Customs. He does some pinstriping, but he's kind of a newbie, I guess, on the performance bagger kick. But still in the podcast, still had a good time. Really looking forward to letting that one out. So check this one out, and we'll be back tomorrow with another one. Peace.